What is going on, guys? So this is the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. They made some updates to this for 2020, so this is going to be my full in-depth review. We're going to check out all the changes and see if this car is still as good. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and check out the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. Now, there are actually a decent amount of changes here. Honda, without overwhelming people with everything that they did, they simply just said handling changes, infotainment changes, and that's pretty much it. So it's easy to think that there are not a lot of things done to this. However, once you unpack what all that is, it is quite a bit of, I guess you can say, significant changes. Now, because of those changes, you do have a higher MSRP. So before it started at the low 36,000s, now you're almost at 38,000. You're around 37.8, 37.9 as is. And that is the only price for this Type R. There's not different trim levels to choose with the Type R, and there's no options to choose. It comes well equipped as is, and that's pretty much going to be the end of that conversation. Now, you do also have another model, which is the yellow limited edition that will be coming a little bit later. And then in other markets, you now have the option to delete the rear wing, but we do not have that option here in the United States, though you can just get some tools and do it yourself. Now, let's go ahead and start with this color. This is Sonic Gray Pearl, and this is a beautiful color. Maybe not as good as the new Boost Blue, but this would be my second option if you want blue and you want that nice, I guess, creamy, grayish blue texture. It looks awesome, and in the sunlight, this thing has got the coolest pearl flake color I've seen on almost any car. And I do think that paired with these red accents, this is one of my favorite colors on the Type R. It's subtle enough to where it's not bright and flashy like the Boost Blue, but it also gives you that really rich pop of color, and I quite like it. Now let's go ahead and go to the front where you are going to begin the changes made for the 2020 year model, and that is going to be this upper opening that's going to feed into the radiator right here. So this is 13% bigger, and that is going to increase engine cooling by about 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Other than that, if you come over here, instead of the normal honeycomb area here, you are going to have just like a flat black with your little intake there, and then you got this little blue flick right there. That's pretty much going to be it in terms of changes. You still have intercooler cooling there. Oh, I do apologize. They did also rework the front splitter. Because of this extra cooling, you do have a decrease in downforce, so to balance that back out, they did adjust the front splitter. I don't know exactly what they did, but I do know that they made some changes to it. Functional arrow here off to the side, so you guys can see it there. You can also see the openings on the other side as well. Full LED lights, so you have your LED daytime running part at the bottom, which looks pretty cool, makes it look very aggressive. And then at night, I mean, this thing is awesome looking. It looks incredible. The lights are extremely bright, so if you do any kind of night driving, these LEDs are phenomenal, and it's going to be very easy to drive at night if you fear doing that. Your red Honda emblem Type R badge over there. Then as you move up, you do have this hood scoop, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a functional hood scoop. The vents aren't blocked off or anything like that, and it's basically going to dump air behind the engine, which is mounted this way, and so I think it's a pretty cool thing that Honda did. Now, as you come off to the side, you're going to have these 20-inch wheels, which are pretty big wheels. They're black, and they've got that red ring going around them. They look awesome. Now, you do have a bunch of suspension components that were updated for 2020, like bushings. You're going to have the suspension, the adaptive suspension on here is going to read the road about 10 times better than it did before. You also have new two-piece front rotors instead of the single-piece rotors you had last year, and those rotors are also about 2.5 pounds lighter on each front wheel, and that is going to obviously reduce the unsprung weight. And the less weight that these front wheels have to deal with, the better, especially when you have these front wheels handling so much already on this Type R. Now, there are your Brembo brake pads right there, which are also updated to not fade as quickly. And then these are wrapped in 245/30 Continental tires. And I believe these are the Sport Contact 6 tires. And as you guys will see later, they do a pretty good job. Now, moving here off to the side, this is going to extract hot air out of the engine bay right here, and it looks very aggressive. So from the side, it's actually pretty large, and it sticks out a lot further than you may think. It almost sticks out about as far as something like a Shelby GT350. So it makes the road presence look awesome on this thing. Now, moving back, you guys will see that signature boy racer styling of the Type R. You hate it or love it. Personally, I think that because a lot of this is functional, I love it. And I think that when something is functional as much as this is, I have no problem with how it looks, because I'm all about function over form. Now, coming up here, you do have these vortex generators going to dump air right under this wing, over the wing. You have a little area here, area for it to go underneath there. You even have a little area here to where the air will go under that almost second deck lid spoiler located right there. Now, as we move back to the rear quarter panel area, I love the wheel arches here on the back. They're very aggressive, very defined, and it really gives that car the aggressive stance. Now, honestly, the back is the most polarizing for me personally. I think the front, the side, everything looks fantastic. But once you get to the back, it looks like some sort of alien bug. It is very interesting, and I think that if Honda were to change anything on like a mid-cycle refresh, like facelift, I think they should leave the front, change the back, because to me, it looks the most interesting. Let's just say that. Now, you do have LED lights back here. They look good at night. You are going to have your Civic badge there. Over here, you have another Type R badge. Now, coming down here, you have some more of this bodywork going here, a sort of mini diffuser, probably really doesn't do much. And then you have your 3 exhausts here. So let's go ahead, fire up this Turbo 4 and hear how it sounds. All right, you guys, so here's the key for the Honda Civic Type R. Very simple, same key as you get on other vehicles in the Honda lineup. You're gonna have your lock, your unlock, your hatch release, your panic, and then when you turn it around, you have your red Honda symbol, which is just a nice, subtle touch. And if you pull this tab, you have a physical key to get into the car if this battery dies or if the battery on the car dies. That way you can still get your belongings. Now, I can use this to lock and unlock the car, or I can use these buttons right here. That's going to lock it, and then to unlock, there's a touchpad behind here. I just put my hand there like that, and that's going to unlock it. All right, guys, so looking inside of the Type R. Now, for 2020, you only have 2 changes on the inside, and I will get to those in just a second, but one of my favorite things is these seats. They just look so very good. Now, coming into the door, you are going to have this faux carbon located right here. It is just going to be plastic. You have this red accent underneath. It's going to run all the way along here. Alcantara here with red stitching. Down here, you're going to have more Alcantara, but since you rest your arm there, you guys can see it's already starting to fade just a little bit. And this car has maybe 1,000 miles on it. Now, coming here, you have your window switches, mirror controls, door locks, cubby space here, which is actually pretty big. Speaker here, tweeter right there. No door sills or anything like that, but you have these awesome mats which have this aluminum Type R badge here. Very cool. Full aluminum pedals. And I love how they have the little rubber dots right there. Your feet or your shoes really grip these pedals very well. Full manual seats. The bolstering, especially the thigh bolstering, is extremely aggressive, and these are the most comfortable seats I think I've ever sat in. It's like a couch. Red stitching there, red Alcantara there in the middle, and you have this nice plush fabric here. It is seriously a comfortable seat. And as you go up, aggressive side bolstering. Going up more, you have your Type R badging right there. And yeah, really awesome seat design. So standing ovation for Honda right there. Now let's get to the steering wheel, because that is the new change here. This and that shifter knob. So now you have this in Alcantara. Once again, it looks great. It feels awesome when you grab it, especially if you go to a track and wear gloves. Your grip is just absolutely out of this world, but it does wear in the most, I guess, unaesthetic way. But it looks awesome while it's brand new. Full manual steering wheel. Your adjustment's going to be way back there, and then there's that shifter knob. It looks a lot like something you'd see in like the older S2000s, older Integra Type R. So I do like that. But let's go ahead and hop in and we'll check out the rest. Okay, shutting the door on the Type R. Nice solid door shut. And here's a wider look at the interior. Pretty much, like I said, the same aside from the steering wheel and the shifter. Now, because it is a manual, foot all the way in on the clutch, and you're going to push that to start. And then you'll notice whenever your foot is on the clutch, that is going to light up. That's all there is to it. Now, we already looked at the steering wheel, so over here to the right, you're going to have your buttons. Now that you have Honda Sensing Standard, you're going to have Adaptive Cruise, your lane keep assist right there. Over to the right, you're going to have your media commands, volume. This is to go through your menus here in the screen by pushing that button there. You can scroll through all of these various things here. I like this boost gauge, which is pretty cool. And yeah, pretty much it. Fuel over there to the far right, and over to the far left, you're going to have your water temp, if it'll focus. Oh, come on. Focusing on everything aside from that. There we go. So you do have that. Pretty neat. Now over here to the left, you have more buttons for traction control, forward collision warning, lane departure. As you go up, you're going to have soft plastic here, more of that red accenting going there. Hard touch up here, soft touch up here, speaker way back there. Red accent's going to go all the way here. More of that faux carbon with another red accent under there. Plastic here, but it does have like molded stitching, which makes it look a little bit nicer. And then you have your head unit, which is pretty simplistic. The same one Honda's had in the Civic, basically since it came out. And if you click up here, this is going to allow you to adjust your brightness, which is pretty cool. And you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on here because the native system is not very good. So the fact that they have that on here is actually a huge plus. And then the sound system is meh because it's not a branded sound system. It's a Honda sound system, and it sounds okay. Now coming down, you have all of your climate controls. You do have to actually hit the climate button right there to pull up things like different zones. In terms of fan speed, you do have to do that here as well. The only thing you can adjust fan speed you can adjust here, temperature you can adjust here. You do have to pull up climate just to adjust your zones and turn AC on and off. It does have dual zone climate control as well, so you guys can see right there. Moving down, you have a little bit of storage area. You have this USB pass-through because your USB is going to be way back there. You also have a lot of storage area back there, which is pretty nice. This Alcantara shift boot with some red stitching. You can really see the grain on this aluminum shifter, and it is heavy duty. Not only did they update the shifter, it feels great. It's solid aluminum because you can feel how cold it is whenever the AC is on, and then when it's hot, it is blazing hot. But I'm glad to make those sacrifices getting this awesome of a shifter. Now beyond that, you do have a counterweight that Honda put in here, so basically the shifter is a little bit heavier. That way rolling through the gears has more of a satisfying click to it. Brake hold, emergency parking brake. Over here you have your different modes. Comfort, which is going to be right here. Go up to go into sport. And then your R plus mode or plus R mode, and that is going to adjust your steering, it's going to adjust your engine response, and it's going to adjust your dampers, which have been retuned and recalibrated for 2020. I like this little plaque right here. It looks so cool, and I think that was one of the coolest things ever. Now moving back, you're going to have more Alcantara here, hard touch right down here. This interesting storage area, it is going to be very deep, so if I lift this up, I mean, my arm's going to go way down here. I can remove this. I can scoot this little guy forwards and backwards. I can remove this. I can move my armrest forwards and backwards. It's a pretty interesting little setup, but it works really well. And I can rest my arm here while the other person puts their arm way over here. It's just a very convenient setup. You just have to get used to moving things around to how you would want them. Over here you have a glove box, though it is not lockable. Up here you have your mirror, which is not auto dimming. Side mirrors are also not auto dimming. Up here you are going to have your lights, non-LED, but they are plenty bright. And then you do have your vanity mirror with a light located right there. It's pretty much going to be it. So let's go ahead and check out the back seat. All right, so sitting in the back of the Civic Type R. Now, I have a lot of room back here. Very good for a compact. My knee room is about 2.5 inches of knee room behind where I would sit, being 6 feet tall. My hair's not touching, despite me having big hair, and once again, me being 6 feet tall. My feet can slide under easily, and all of this is great. I can fit back here pretty comfortably, but if you're above 6 feet, your head may be hitting a little bit. I'd say if you're 6'2", you'll be hitting your head for sure, and then anything above that, you just won't be comfortable back here. Now, you do have this integrated cup holder storage area set up here, which means you cannot fit a third person. I really wish they would have went with a traditional fold down cup holder. I think that would have made this car even more practical than it already is. You've got these awesome red seat belts back here, which are always a plus to have, and you have this nice like carbon fiber weave going on the back of the seat. It's not real carbon fiber, but it looks good nonetheless. The negative is that you don't have any vents back here. You have no vents or anything to blow air on your passengers, your children, whoever you decide to put back here, your animals. So that is probably the one thing I would like to see Honda add to this car. And then coming above here, you have a grab handle, and you have hooks up here to hang dry cleaning and things like that on. You have a bottle holder area here. It can't really hold anything other than that. Pretty hard touch plastic, and then your fabric material coming right here. But that's pretty much going to be it for the back seat. Let's go ahead and check out the trunk. Okay, so coming to the back of the Honda Civic Type R. This is hands down the most impressive thing about the car in terms of practicality. So you lift this up, there's a button right under the H, and look at all of this space. There's so much room back here. You have this built-in cargo cover that I can pull across, clip in just like that. If I lift up the floor, I am going to have a fix-a-flat area, but you don't have a spare on here, unfortunately. Now you can fold the rear seats down, and at that point, you have an insane amount of storage space. I was actually able to fit an entire bicycle back here, which was just shocking to me. And then obviously, because it's a hatch, you can get large items in here, boxes, lawnmowers. You can probably fit like a small fridge in here. There's just so much practicality, and I think that's one of the coolest things about this car. But that's pretty much going to be it. Here's the cubic feet if you guys want to take a look at that. And to close, you have two handles on either side, and you're just going to pull down. I usually use one of the wings here for support, and there you go. So let's go ahead and see what's under the hood. Okay, so coming under the hood of the Honda Civic Type R. So nothing has changed under here for 2020. You still have the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. This is going to be VTEC, and this is going to make 3, 2, 1. All right, so coming under the hood of the Honda Civic Type R. Now for 2020, you did not get any changes underneath the hood. Most of it was just suspension, mechanical, things like that. You still have the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's gonna make 306 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Now that is the strongest 306 horsepower I think I have felt in a vehicle. It feels like it makes a lot more than that. This is also going to be VTEC, which is awesome, or at least the VTEC turbo parts, so the intakes and things like that are going to be technically VTEC. Now, as far as the hood, it is functional. A lot of people, for some reason, think it's not functional. The air is going to come out right here, and it's going to dump right behind that engine. So it's a really nice looking setup. I love looking under this engine. However, I'm sure you guys are excited to drive it. So let's go ahead, get this on the road, see how it does. Okay, so driving the Honda Civic Type R. Now, I'm gonna do my normal driving impressions, and then I will switch over to POV so you guys can drive with me, essentially. Now, I have it in comfort mode right now, and I have to say, this is the most comfortable car of this seriousness that I've driven. I mean, this had the record for the fastest front-wheel drive car around the Nürburgring. Now that record has since been eclipsed by other vehicles, but I know that even still, the fact that this is as comfortable as it is insane. This is more comfortable than something like a Focus RS, than a Veloster N even. But I think most of it is the seats. The seats are seriously like you're sitting on a couch. They're extremely supportive, yet the material just gives into your body weight and it just wraps around you. It's amazing how comfortable these seats are. And I honestly think it is these seats that make this car so comfortable. Now, all that aside, how does this drive? Well, with all the updates made, I think it feels better than the last time I drove it. That was a few years ago, but I just know that this past week that Honda has given me this car to drive, it has been so good. It is such a good driving car, and things like the steering feel, the brake feel, the way the shifter works, everything is so perfectly tuned. And if you enjoy to drive your car, this is hard to beat, extremely hard to beat. Veloster N, for example, amazing car. Sound-wise, trumps this by a long shot. The other thing is, let's say, a GTI. GTI is great in terms of just feeling more high-tech, feeling a little bit more solid when it comes to like build quality. In terms of chassis and just the overall driving suspension feel, this feels solid than everything, more solid than everything I just named. Yeah, the steering feedback is incredible, especially with this newly wrapped Alcantara wheel. It just translates everything that's going on very, very well. The ride feels very composed. Everything feels very taut, controlled, and this is just in comfort mode. But as you go through the modes, you do have that new sound Simposer thing going in, the active sound control, and it doesn't sound very good. It's also frustrating because the car just doesn't sound good in general, so the fact that you're amplifying that noise isn't great. It's like if I played guitar, which I do, but if I play guitar and I was just learning, it probably sounds very bad, so you plug that into an amp and it just amplifies how bad you sound, and this is kind of the same situation. That's my biggest complaint with this car. Now, you can like go into the glove box, mess with things on the dash and take it apart, unplug it, but that requires a lot of tooling, and if you don't want to have to do that, then, you know, there's no button to just go in and turn it off. This one is going to be slightly different. I'm not going to go down Ortega. I'm out here on Trabuco Canyon Road, and we're gonna have some fun going up there. Now you have the rev matching, so you guys can see it working there. Absolutely flawless. Second gear pull. Oh, it pulls so strong. The brakes are awesome on here, guys. Very good brakes. Oh my gosh, this thing just goes so well. And the turn is ridiculous. I'm actually chasing this Elantra right now and he's booking it. But man, this thing drives so well, guys. So well. Whew. This is seriously a very good driving machine. I mean, the turn-in is just, look at that. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Brakes are awesome. Oof. Ooh. Alright you guys, so here is one of the coolest parts about the Type R. So now that you have Honda sensing, you get this steering assist here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on cruise control right now, and I'm gonna turn on steering assist. Going on a curve here, check this out. It's taking the curve. I'm pretty centered, and it's straightening out. Look at that. How incredible. In a car that costs what this cost, that can drive the way that this thing drives, that can take a corner the way this thing takes a corner, and then also doubles up as being an incredibly comfortable vehicle. So I've got my wife here with me now. We're just cruising along in comfort mode, 6th gear. Everything's pretty quiet. You don't have to deal with the active sound coming in. And it's a very, very comfortable car. Honey, are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Perfect. And yeah, it's very surprising how comfortable this thing is. Now, as you guys can hear, there is a good amount of noise coming in, like tire noise, wind noise. So the cabin itself isn't very well insulated. That is going to be the biggest downside. But other than that, it's a peach to drive, and it's got tons. Okay, whatever, honey. Okay, and it's got tons of storage space in the back, and it's a good everyday vehicle. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up driving impressions. Let's go ahead and wrap up this review. Well, everyone, that is going to wrap up my review of the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. And if you liked this car, let me know. Comment below, what do you think about the Type R? Would you get it over the competition? And if you guys are new to the channel, I'd love to have you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and be sure to hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next review.